Hello, I'm Steve Lang and welcome to the new Antara Model Year 11 vehicle walk-around. Now, before we begin looking into the details, I want to focus your attention on the fantastic sales opportunities within the sports utility vehicle segment. It may surprise you to know that this segment has seen substantial growth, increasing from 7.65% to 10% of the overall cars sold in the UK market over the last 3 years. And whilst manufacturers such as Nissan with their Qashqai have sold over 30,000 units, we have previously only scratched the surface, with just over 300 new Antaras sold last year. I can assure you that that modest number is about to change. We now have a very aggressive pricing policy that will see new Antara displayed in your showrooms at substantially reduced price points. And that not only offers impressive savings over outgoing models, but also betters the majority of our competitors. In addition, we have substantial improvements with regards to fuel efficiency, economy, CO2 emissions, and driving performance. For example, our most fuel efficient new Antara returns 44.8 miles per gallon combined, and that compares to the previous best of 37.2 miles per gallon. That's nearly a 20% improvement. The sum total of these targeted improvements is much greater than anything that can be seen at first glance. In fact, one of new Antara's most radical design advancements is something that you can't see. So what is it? Well, it's the addition of a front-wheel drive only new Antara to the range. That appeals to budget-minded SUV customers who require all the practical and lifestyle benefits of an SUV without the all-wheel drive system. So before we get too technical and look at why customers may buy SUVs, let's go back to basics and start our traditional product walk-around. Starting at the front, the first thing we notice is the bold dynamic grille, with the new style 3D Griffin emblem sitting proudly in the centre. You'll notice the revised front bumper section and repositioned fog lights, with chrome surround on this, the SE trim, and the SE also features xenon headlights. Also notice the crease line in the centre running up the bonnet, and that all combines to create a much more purposeful stance. Okay, now let's have a look under the bonnet and talk about our all-new simplified engine lineup. Now, the first thing to point out to your customers is just how easy that is to lift the bonnet. The hydraulic struts give a real sign of quality. So let's focus on the new simplified engine lineup. We now have one engine with 2 power outputs. This is the new Euro 5 compliant 2.2 CDTI. It says it on the tin, turbo diesel. It's available as 163 PS or 184 PS and is combined with the all-new 6-speed manual or automatic transmission. These engines and transmissions are purposely developed to be smooth and effortless, working in harmony with the intelligent and adaptive all-wheel drive system. You should also point out to your potential customers that new Antara has up to a 50% reduction in engine and road noise, and this has been achieved through the inclusion of sound restrictors, such as you'll notice on the bonnet. Right, let's talk about the side of the car, but before I do that, I've got that nagging feeling that there's something I've forgotten, something that would be logical to talk about while I'm at the engine. What could that be? Hey, where are you going? That's it, Vauxhall lifetime warranty. You two, bring that back now. It's a Vauxhall lifetime warranty. That's what it's really important to talk about while you're talking about engines and mechanical items. The Vauxhall lifetime warranty will give your customers peace of mind, not just on the Antara, but across our range. It's really important to mention. It builds desire and it sells cars. Okay, now from the side of the Antara, style features include the side indicators that are located within the wing vents, and also the protective side trims. That really enhances the new Antara's rugged appearance. If we're talking about wheel sizes, the exclusive model features 17 or 18-inch wheels, whilst this, the SE, features all new 19-inch alloy wheels. As you can see, it's got ultra-low profile tyres as well. And of course, you'd expect all Antaras to have large ventilated front disc brakes, which it does, and also rear disc brakes as well. Of course, you'd expect, and you know it's got anti-locking braking system, ABS, but also has electronic stability program, ESP, as standard, as well as electronic brake force distribution, EBD, and emergency brake assist, EBA. All of these features combine to offer outstanding road holding and safety. And at this point, it's ideal to make reference to the high stance of the vehicle and extra ground clearance also that's offered by the Antara. This is of course your perfect opportunity to ask your customer what has attracted them to an SUV. What are their needs? Maybe it's towing a speedboat, maybe it's the past 2 bad winters that we've all experienced. And at that point, be ready to answer questions regarding ground clearance, regarding the high seating position, and of course, the all-wheel drive system and its capabilities. Now, no one will expect you to know all the facts and figures, and using a brochure at this point will be an advantage. Give me that brochure. You've got one of these in your showroom, of course, and it's critical that you give your customers a basic overview of the vehicle. All the facts and figures are there, guys. Talk to your customer about how the new adaptive all-wheel drive system works, and at this point at least explain that there is a front-wheel drive only model available. Now, of course, there is other information that will explain the all-wheel drive system in more detail, but you should know that new Antara operates in front-wheel drive only for normal road driving, and will only engage all-wheel drive should traction be lost under braking or acceleration, and in extremely slippy conditions will enable the power to be split up to 50-50 between the front and rear axles. Of course, for the more serious off-roaders, new Antara does have a descent control system. Moving to the rear, you notice the dark tinted glass, and that wraps around the rear windscreen as well. Other things to point out at the back of the car: the large new bold rear lamps. Lots of presence, adds to the whole muscular look at the back of the car. One other thing to mention before we look inside the luggage area is this skid plate here, alloy effect. It's at the front, but even more noticeable at the rear. Let's have a look in the luggage compartment. Opening the tailgate firstly reveals the tonneau cover, which can easily be slid back into place. You'll see now the flat floor loading and also the standard flex rail system. The rear seats fold and can be operated, actually fold them flat from the rear. As easy as that. That now reveals 1,420 litres of load space. Okay, so let's move this seat back up and we'll put it in its upright position. Fantastic. However, if you want a more relaxing recline position, simply goes back. Excellent. We're going to take the tonneau cover out now to show you how you can achieve even more load space. Now, not everyone has a surfboard, of course, but look at this. Simple one-touch operation. And now you can fit anything in this. Look at this space and notice the flat flooring continues as well. Of course, another use, if I'm sitting in the driver's seat, parked up, this is hard-backed. Put my laptop computer on here, maybe do some work. I've got one more thing to show you before we focus on the interior. Okay, I'm sure by now you've realised how great the Antara is when it comes to load capacity. But one more thing, if you'd like a little bit more room to put your stuff, simply lift up the floor and you'll see, as there's no spare wheel and there's a tyre inflation kit, you have loads of room in terms of additional storage capabilities. And before we get to the front, let's look at what's different in the rear. By pulling down the centre armrest, you'll see your rear passengers will benefit from two neatly placed cup holders. That's changed with the new Antara because they were situated at the front of the vehicle. You'll also see, for their added comfort, there is a 12-volt socket available in the rear as well. Last but not least, let's get the customer sat behind the wheel, experiencing the all-new Antara's interior. In this model, we have the all-new light titanium leather trim, featuring two-tone dash. Driver controls on the steering wheel, clear, easy-to-view dials with centre heater climate control and a multimedia display. Bluetooth satellite navigation with DVD playback facility is a retailer fit option. And on the passenger side, we have a dashboard illuminated, manually switchable passenger airbag. And following feedback from the old model, we have a completely redesigned centre console that features an electronic parking brake, thus offering a dramatically improved central area with MP3 and audio inputs, and also heated seat controls. Now, just like your customers, you'll be dying to get behind the wheel, but what can you talk about on a test drive? Well, before we set off, let's start up the engine, and that gives you an opportunity to point out just how quiet the new and improved Antara's diesel engine actually is. And this, of course, will draw your customers' attention to improvements in road noise as they drive. Once on the move, it's very relevant to talk about the extra power and performance in the new engines, including a very impressive 0 to 60 time of sub 10 seconds in the manual versions. And even this, the automatic version, a very respectable car-like 10.1 seconds for 0 to 60. All of that from a 2.2 CDTI 183 PS. Now, with new Antara, you should definitely find a time to talk about the new improved steering system. Ideal to demonstrate as you're going round a roundabout as I am now. That includes a new rack which is positioned on the chassis to provide a more positive and direct feel. On ending the test drive, it's always worth pointing out some positive third-party feedback. I can tell you that at our launch event in Scotland, the new Antara received acclaimed praise. Even though the event was blighted by poor weather conditions, the events team said that customer feedback was better than any other previous event. So pass that on. Let's end by summarising the new Antara. A stylish vehicle, new diesel engines, and all linked to that fantastic price point. Guys, you are going to love selling this car, and your customers will love buying it. Happy selling.